Okay, we're gonna try and go live. Steel and the Arcane Bear. We're gonna be looking at Bitcoin, Raven, Matic, and actually anything you guys want to take a look at. It's been so long since I've done a live stream, and considering that was like the basis of pretty much everything we did, I figured I'd give it a shot and see if the internet maybe even worked. You never know, it might work, it might not. I'm in the middle of a different jungle this time. Not Costa Rica, I'm in Balinese, Indonesia. Geez, what is it? It's like 11 p.m. here. Excuse me. I just tried to slam like 3 or 4 different countries' names together. I'm in Bali, Indonesia. Who would have thought Tio can still speak? I can still freestyle, ladies and gentlemen. I swear to God, this will grow fine. It's been so long since I've done a live stream. I want to make sure everything is working. If you guys can, give us those thumbs up, leave us those comments, let us know what you think right away. That way, hopefully, I'll be able to figure out if this is going well or not. But in the meantime, what I'm going to do is I'm going to fire up my shared screen here. I'm just going to start taking a look at Bitcoin. I will go back to the main screen and double check on all your guys' comments here as we go. But as you can see, we've been following this downward channel, and this was originally the flag and of the bull flag that I was interested in watching. Now we've consolidated here right below the channel. Now what's really nice and interesting is this looks very, very similar. And for those of you that are fans and longtime members of the Private Bear newsletter, you know I love little fractal moves like this. We are going to go over Matic as well as Raven at the end of this because they actually formed one of our favorite sentiments in the market as well. Let's see. Okay, there we go. What happened to your hair? No, I cut my hair recently. It just felt like a good time to change things up. I'd had long hair for 14 years, so it was one of those moments where I thought it was a good idea to just switch it up a little bit. So as you can see, we've actually consolidated here, and we've formed a very, very similar pattern to what we had here. But the nice part is we actually never touched the bottom part of this trend line, which again is extremely important. Now, again, for those of you that follow or are signed up for our private newsletter, you know I've gone over this already, but I'm going to share it freely with the community. This bull flag as a movement is normally invalidated by anything over a 48% retracement. Now, if we ignore the crazy wicks that came up around 13,000, we're at around 49.72% of a retracement value since that high. And what I've talked about in the Private Bear group is essentially the difference in the traditional markets versus the markets that we're in now. And what I find interesting here is that certain characteristics that equivalent, let's make sure, yeah, that in terms of what a bull flag would have been inside of the stock market. Again, I have my trading experience from the stock market transitioned into the crypto world. And for those of you, again, who have been listening or following for quite some time, you know that I think a lot of these positions have exaggerated characteristics, fairly similar, but at the same point where it would have been invalidated in the traditional markets, I've been giving myself extra playroom in this market. So with Bitcoin sitting at only a 49% retracement, this bull flag in my mind is still technically in play. So again, for those of you that like the channel and have been part of the Bear private newsletter, thank you guys so much. I have such a great time writing every month, sharing my thesis and my outlooks. And what I want to show here again is what we wrote about, I think it was July and August, when we talked about the drop from 13,000 down 7.7. Now we've gone a little bit lower again, but that does not invalidate our particular trend. Now, we do have to get above the middle of this trend line. And if we do, and we come up and test 8,600 again, this would be a very beautiful consecutive behavior. Now, if we're able to break outside of the downwards red trend line, what you would normally see from a bull flag is actually the extension of the flag itself, which would bring us anywhere between $15,000 and $20,000. This would be a very, very interesting move to see. And with the May Bitcoin halving not too far away, this is still a potential. Now, again, the only difference here is that we have to understand that the bull flag in the traditional markets would have already been invalidated, and that's extremely important to recognize, is that in the traditional sentiments, we're actually bearish now because we broke down below the $7,600 and $7,700 line, and we're still currently not able to get above the 314 day moving average, which is this blue line right here. Now I know there's a lot of colors on my screen. I like it like that because they're all giving me very similar indications. I don't actually use them all. What I do is I pay attention to all of them as a single indicator, not as individuals, especially in the shorter time frames and for trading. I know, look, first off, I don't suggest trading is for most people. It's for people that already have a fairly large portfolio of money that they can play with, money that they can lose, because you're generally going to lose most of your trades for the first like 6 to 9 months. Just almost like any good business, you're going to make a lot of mistakes. So if you can afford to make that characteristic failure in any business, it's a great investment. And trading is the same thing. You have to be able to manage your emotions and pay attention. So for those of you that have followed the run up with us in Matic and Raven and exited somewhere around 500 Satoshis before it dropped all the way back down to 150, you did really well. We actually saw one of our bear members made 0.7 Bitcoin in that month as well. So hats off to them. They won a free t-shirt for doing well. I don't know how that works. I don't know how you make yourself your own money and we give you a free t-shirt, but that's how it works in the private bear den. So super excited about that. But again, what I wanted to do is it had been so long since we had done a live stream that I wanted to be able to roll in, share some of these sentiments, and make sure everything is working properly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you my face back here really quickly, and I'm just going to take a look at all your guys' questions and comments to see what you're saying. Nice to see you again. Stay Content says, thank you. Great to be here. Try using VSH RSI. Don't know what that is. The havening, yeah, that's more of a slang. It's same like the hodl idea. I think seeing words like this is important to understand, mostly because the younger generations always come up with a slang. It's an important characteristic of the way we are viewing the market sentiments as a whole. Bitcoin looks good again. I will I'll jackhammer you says. It's not that it looks good again. It's just I'm trying to explain the sentiment. Again, for those of you that are in the private bear den, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. We go over this stuff in our private group quite extensively. I'm always in our Telegram channels. If you guys are interested, we're going to be raising our prices just because we know it's better to have really engaged members who are interested in learning on the long term, just like any form of education. I know for those of you that have known me for any type of the past, I used to charge $1,000 an hour for my consultation in the marketing and advertising space. So that's just for one segment of the skill sets that I have. So what I'm trying to reiterate is I know that charging my clients a particular amount of money actually increases the likelihood of their success because they're invested into the process of understanding what's being said, instead of where people that don't invest in that, they don't listen, they come up with their own conclusions, Tio Harris had a happening. Thank you for that. I really appreciate it. This is a funny moment for me to go through and cut my hair. It was a real existential crisis that I went through, essentially, to have that experience take place. I had my long hair for 14 years, and I was quite attached to it. This says, reverse flashback says, you're more sexy with the long hair. I appreciate that. That's kind. Hopefully you guys can let me know. It says you need to change the video resolution to expected 2560. Oh, see, I don't even know how to stream anymore, guys. I'm going to try and do this live stream output video. I can't. Your video is currently optimized. Okay, well, we're going to fix that later. I'm going to take a screenshot so that I can figure out what I'm doing. It had been so long since we had done a live stream. YouTube's giving me all these new things that it hadn't done. Let's see. I missed your analysis and your Tourette moments. Yeah, goddamn fucking crazy people in the markets. I missed those moments too. It's good to be back. I will be doing more live streams. I'm actually looking at booking my flights back to Costa Rica. I miss my dog. I miss gardening. Bali has been a lot of fun. The stuff we have been building out here is a very, very, very sentimentally close to my heart, so I appreciate that. I'll take a look at this as well. Last few thoughts here. Jackhammer says Bull Polney said $30,000 Bitcoin in 2020. Bull Polney has been wrong often. I don't think that that's a great way to necessarily judge your sentiments on the markets. And someone asked when I'm going to play some music again. I've got a guitar here, but that's all we get for now. She's a little out of tune because I haven't played her the last few days, and it's actually like a cheap $60 guitar, so we have to retune it like every 45 minutes for it to sound decent. I know it says Martin at the top, but that's a total lie. It's a lie by the guitar company. Okay, so let's go back into the BTC share and then go like this. So I want to finish my sentiments now that I know everything is working. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go over Bitcoin, answer some more of your guys' questions. Then we'll jump into Matic, answer some more questions, jump into Raven, answer some more questions, and then it'll be a free-for-all. We will look at whatever tokens, whatever crazy ideas you guys want, we will go over. I'm going to give you an hour of my time tonight before we dive offline. And maybe what I'll try to do is just do more live streams. If that's something you guys want, give us those thumbs up. There's also a new little thing that YouTube has been trying out, which is giving us lowered memberships. So I know our monthly newsletter is going to be quite expensive. We're going to raise the price to around $90 a month. But again, if you want to sign up before that and get integrated into the cheaper price, you can go to www.arcanebear.com and sign up. You get grandfathered into the $30 a month price package. But YouTube is actually offering to give us these memberships where you guys will get custom badges and different little bears that we'll make for you. And we'll do maybe once a month exclusive content. And these will be cheaper price points, so you can pay $5 or $15 or $30 a month depending on what we offer. So if you guys are interested, play around with the new YouTube features. I really like YouTube, even though I can't seem to keep their algorithm happy because I'm so goddamn random and travel, and probably because I swear at the sky for no reason. Not kid-friendly content. Oh, anyways, so my sentiments here again with Bitcoin, and I just want to finish this off for all of you that are joining, is even though the bear flag it would normally be invalidated inside of the traditional market sector, the exaggerated market sector that we're seeing with the Bitcoin space is something that I want to keep aware of, and something that we'd seen in the past is that the market actually pushes out further than we would have normally anticipated. We've seen this with cup and handles. We've seen this with head and shoulders. We've seen this with pretty much every single traditional market sentiment there were. I mean, the candlesticks are a different story because they're not as exaggerated as long-term patterns. Again, like a long-term cup and handle pattern may take months to form sometimes. And again, can invalidate itself just as quickly as we saw with Matic. That's why stop losses are probably the banner flag of every trade channel, or at least it should be. So with the potential bull flag here, if we get above this top little green channel, if we look at it a little closer on the 4 hour, we've butted up against it multiple times here, and we've actually managed to stay above the previous low, which is a good indicator so far, as long as we don't come down lower, and we could come down to 6,000. If we start to break above this here and have a mid to high range trajectory of around $8,700, that's extremely powerful, because it means we haven't necessarily invalidated this bull flag. And that to me would be extremely exciting, because we've been calling for this bull flag all the way since July. So being able to be copaesthetically right, even though we didn't get the numbers exact, I mean, we originally aimed at 7,600. We thought we would turn around here. But again, we dropped all the way down to 6,700, so we lost an extra $1,000 on that play. Re-entered again around 7,700, but we had exited all the way around 11 and 10,000 prior to that. So we'd actually pulled off just from being out of the markets for our original, because I don't short. It's just not my style. It was a 34% increase during that period while we weren't trading anything else. Anyways, the point of this is, if we can get it back above here, we don't invalidate the bull flag, and we could see that move into the $15,000 to $20,000 range, maybe even higher. Now, from macro perspective, I hope all of you know I still think Bitcoin is going to hundreds of thousands of dollars. How it gets there, though, is really a story of the human species. You know, Trump's been impeached, whatever the hell that means. I don't even know what that means necessarily. I don't know anything about politics. People are really happy about it, and I'm sure they don't have any clue what it means either. So but these are the sentiments that we're relying on the global sentiments of these markets. I mean, it's really interesting to look at the S&P 500. Fuck, 3,200 points right now. What the hell? It's just blasted off into new all-time highs. Printing money. People don't care anymore. The money printing hasn't stopped, and they don't care. and it doesn't seem like they're going to notice. So who knows? These markets could just keep going higher and higher and higher. So because of that, these are one of the reasons why Bitcoin is likely staying high as well. I still speculate that if we were to see a total market crash, which I don't think is going to be the case, it would bring Bitcoin down with it, because Bitcoin is generally viewed as an asset at this point. Although I do think the sentiments at large would be the understanding of Bitcoin versus the failure of the US dollar. Again, that's always the speculation that we've made. A market crash would be bad for Bitcoin. Dollar crash, good for Bitcoin. Even though, I mean, if we look at the DXY, which is the dollar average index, it's been stuck in this top range. So even though they've printed a massive amount of money, it's had barely any effect on the relationship of the dollar. This, in my mind, is likely because you have crashes in all the other fiat systems. Okay, so I'm going to scroll over. I'm going to answer a few more of your guys' questions, and then we'll take a look at Matic and Raven as well. Let's see here. When do you see Boponi is full of it? John McAfee says $200,000 Bitcoin by 2020, or $2 million Bitcoin by 2020. Yep, that's not going to be the case. Try changing your resolution at the bottom of the screen and click the gear symbol. That would only be over in it's actually in my my OBS platform, and I can't change it while I'm live streaming. It's saying. Anyways, we'll figure it out. We'll figure out how to do this again. But thank you for the heads up. I see this guy who's talking about Cliff High does not know how Cliff High's data works. I mean, Cliff has been exemplary. I've listened to him for almost 7 years. If you don't know what Cliff is saying, that's simply a lack of your understanding. It has nothing to do. Cliff High doesn't make predictions. He makes sentiment analysis. And if you don't understand the difference between these things, you should probably do some more homework. And XRP freak, well, there we go. We can see right off the bat. You probably have. I don't even know why you'd own XRP. This sounds like the silliest thing in mankind. More music videos, please. Okay, I like that. Crypto Eddie says Tool is playing in New Orleans on February 1st. I actually had a girlfriend invite me to that. I don't think I will be here. Sadly. Arcane Bear, let's get a band together. I'm a bass player. I love it. I can play the drums. I love playing drums. Good for that. Lower lows and lower highs need to reach 10K for me to stop soiling my underpants. Yeah, again, you know, these market sentiments, guys, it really comes down to you have to understand who you are in your portfolio. Are you an active trader? Are you a long-term investor? Are you even maybe an active investor who's looking for entries and exits and taking advantage and redistributing their portfolios? I think that this is all extremely important to understand, and the best way to do that is to really gauge what type of person you are in this space. Oh, did I just cancel the stream? No. Seriously? Okay. I don't even still, I'm sorry, I apologize, ladies and gentlemen. Live streaming again is still like, it feels like a new thing for me, even though I've done this hundreds of times, I'm sure. You really want to figure out what suits you best. And that's something that's difficult to do. I think a lot of people entered this sector thinking that they were just going to get rich quick. And that's not really what any investment portfolio is about. Investment portfolios should be, I'm going to put this much in every week for the next 10 years, and I'm not going to touch it. I'm going to enter Google or Facebook, Bitcoin, Tesla, the CBD stocks, maps for shrooms, whatever it might be, whatever interests you. And I think that generally people that don't have a lot of money want to make a lot of money, not understanding, that doesn't make you happy. Some of the times that I've been most depressed, I've had like the most zeros in my bank account or something ridiculous. So they're not intrinsically connected. You know, the amount of monetary wealth you have does not make you happy. I mean, there's been plenty of times like I can fly anywhere in the world right now. I can do whatever I want, and all I want is my ex-girlfriend to pick up the goddamn phone and talk to me. And because it feels anyways, because it's such a betrayal of trust to not have the compassion to continue to grow our relationships. Like my first girlfriends, like they're my best friends still. We chat. I'm super stoked they got married. They're having kids. I'm telling how awesome I am, like how proud I am of them, you know? Like try to be excited for everyone, even though it's not like it doesn't include me. I'm really excited by people progressing in their lives. Anyways, the point of this is money doesn't solve anything but money problems. And when you're having money problems, that might seem like the pinnacle of a problem to have. But again, it's not. The existential problems that everyone goes through, tragedy, death in your family, whatever it might be, health problems, money doesn't really solve these. It can help, obviously, especially with if you need like healthcare services like stem cell research or some crazy shit to fix your back because you're an MMA fighter. I don't know. Maybe I'm listening to too much Joe Rogan on that one, but I think you get my sentiment here. So I'm going to take a look at Matic because it did something really beautiful. For those of you that are following the private, you're in the private newsletter, you or at least in our private group too, because we didn't get this out for the newsletter. We were watching. This is one of our favorite patterns. It's very bullish and it's very, very consistent. We've made great gains with this. See, at first we thought we had. I'll show you where we had made the mistake at first, because at first we were looking for the breakout here. And we had a false breakout because it looked like this was a wedge here. So the wedge kept breaking down. But what was interesting is that this looked like it was going to be an Adam and Eve pattern, which is nowhere near as reliable as a falling wedge. But the falling wedge, if you actually recursively bring it back to here, when some of the volatility around Matic dropped, you had a much clearer picture on this falling or descending wedge, which is a very bullish signal. And as soon as we broke out up top, we saw a very quick, what was this? Yeah, 22% gain. And what was interesting and what I like about these is we saw the exact same thing in Raven again, which again leads me to believe our original thesis of the whale watchers, that if you pay close attention to where the whales are playing, you can play off the backs and the waves of the whales. Here again, another descending or falling wedge. Not as big as a gain, only 10% in Raven today, but even still, that was a nice large move outside of the wedge. Now again, I actually had a small position in Matic that I took and then closed out today because of a stop loss. And always play with stop losses, even though Matic's higher than where I got stopped out at. I was still a profit of like 10% for me. That's a pretty nice deal. Again, here we're at 20% with Matic over the course of 24 hours. That's huge. These are huge numbers. Like these are not small. This is not a small playground if you know what you're doing. So keeping a close eye on stuff like this is always a lot of fun. I really like that Matic and Raven produced that same signal because the descending wedge is such a strongly bullish signal and pattern. Everyone in the Telegram channel, we were chatting about it. Now what I want to do is I want to save this last little bit here, this last half hour, to go over any of your guys' thoughts, questions, sentiments, and concerns. Again, this was just supposed to be a freestyle AMA to see if I even know how to make live streams anymore. Apparently I don't. I got to fix the resolution. Apparently that will help me stream better. It says that you need to change the video resolution. That's what's telling me. Anyways, I meant the viewers change their resolution by clicking the gear symbol. Oh yeah, it's actually it's the resolution on my side that's making the streaming quality poor, so I do have to fix that. Do you think Bitcoin hit its low? So Crypto Eddie, the great question. What I want to do, I wonder if I can pause. Too bad you can't like pause the stream or something ridiculous. So I'll make my sentiment analysis here for Bitcoin one more time, because the bottom is bottoms are really interesting questions. Again, it's not a bottom makes no difference. If you're an investor, a bottom doesn't make any difference. You should just be continually buying and creating a larger portfolio. So who cares if it's the bottom or not? $50 a week, every week, whatever you need to do, $200 a month, whatever you need to do, right? Don't give a shit about the bottom. The only reason I would care about a bottom is if you're actually interested in trading. And we exit our positions around 11,000, we re-entered at 7,700. So even though we're technically at like almost a 20% friggin' drop in Bitcoin's price since then, which is quite big, right? That's not a small. Again, just like I said, 20% gain is like not. That's a nice gain. 20% loss on on the BTC holdings is also big, but we also circumvented and managed to not lose 37% of that drop as well. So it's all a give and take relationship in the trading world. Now in the investing space, who cares if it's a top or bottom? It doesn't make a difference. And even if it's a top or bottom in the trading space, well, you shouldn't be trading on the ideas of being a top or bottom. You should be looking at a much closer relationship to the analysis. So here, you know, this looks like it could be a bull flag. I think Bitcoin will probably jump up and test the $7,300 area one more time. If it does and it can break above our blue line here, we'll probably see that run into the $8,000 range and the middle ground. Again, we've done a nice job of staying above the 314 45-minute moving average. Again, bullish at least for the next hour at a time. If we scroll out from the 4 hour, you can see we're still well below the 200 simple moving 4 hour average, again, which could put us up around 7,300. We need to break that area and hold above it with volume. If we don't, we could definitely come down as low as $5,900 or lower. So in terms of like technical trading, this is a fairly risky position. We had a much stronger position for a long at the $6,700 area. Again, here I would be actually looking for more basically confirmations of an analysis going in our direction, which we don't yet have. So I mean, in terms of trading, I wouldn't trade this position at this particular moment. I would be more interested in watching what it does, and then from there making a more educated decision based off that. So whether it's at a bottom or not, I don't think it really matters, because it sounds like most people that are interested interested as investors, not as traders, because if you're interested in trading, there's no such thing as a bottom. It doesn't exist. There's just a trade, like a good trade, right? Which is generally a good strategy. I'm going to find a position that I think is going to do well for me. I'm going to set my stop loss, and I'm going to play my strategy out. When it gets to this level, I'm going to take this percentage of gain, and that's it for the day. That's it for the week. That's it for the month. Whatever type of trade you might be actually looking at executing. Love that they always use bamboo straws. Not that I don't like plastic ones, I just like bamboo ones like exponentially more. It's always a nice trade-off. Anyways, I definitely see the effects of not streaming every day that this has on the channel. Maybe we'll try to do it more frequently. I'm gonna jump offline. I guess this was only a half an hour, but that's a pretty good start. Now that I know this works and there's a few things I have to fix in terms of the resolution, maybe what we'll do is we'll just try to show up every night or as often as we can for a little bit and see if that makes any difference. If you guys have any questions now, I will stay here for that. So if there's anything you want me to take a look at, let me know. So if there are any tokens or any thoughts, whatever that process might be, you guys let me know, and I'll dive into that as best I can. We'll give about maybe 10 minutes in that area. One of the fun things I saw today is the Federal Reserve's SWIFT system went down for a little bit. Okay, so Dreamer's asking about Engine. That's the first one on the list. So we'll give Dreamer's highlight look here. We'll go to Engine. Okay, we will change the screen over. There we go. Okay, let's give us more. Let's start with more data. Okay. Let's see. I want to give as much reverse analysis as possible here. Okay. Okay, so again, I kind of like fractal trades that we've done really well with that in Raven in the past, although it's not always consistent. You have to always play with a stop loss. You never know exactly what's going to happen. You can make somewhat of an assessment based off this. Now, there are two things that are really positive here. Number one, we're above the daily 200 moving average, this green line here, bang. On the daily, we're also above the 21. So actually, are we above the 21 moving average here? We're right on top of it. Good thing. Now, this is not the strongest signal to trade off of in terms of patterns, but if you look at the 4 hour, it'll become a little clearer, I guess. This is generally what we would call, well, there's a few ways to look at it. So an ascending triangle. Oh no, it's not an ascending triangle because there's no flat top, is there? Let's see. Ascending wedge, maybe. Or is that the same? Is the same thing? No. Okay, the wedge has more of that top as well. I forgot what the name of this pattern is called. It's not. It's Jesus Christ. I feel like That's the problem with pattern trading, is there's so many different types of pattern. There's definitely not a bear flag. Why have I forgotten this? See, sometimes it's hard to do to trade specifically, but this is not a very great signal to trade off of anyways. I don't remember what it's called, which makes me feel kind of foolish at the moment, but this is not a super strong signal in either direction. What I would do though is I would say that if you can break above, if Engine stays and can break above this downward trend line currently, which would be around 1170 satoshis, you could see a breakout. Now how high would that breakout go? Let's just imagine it's a very similar measured move. We could say maybe up to 1500 again to retest that previous top. You'd need to see a fair amount of volume come in to match that, and I suspect that if this is going to be this triangle, it'll probably play out into the mid of December before you have any confirmation. Again, if it breaks above, it should be a fairly bullish signal. If it breaks below, it should be bearish. You can't really bet on these types of triangles. Again, I wish I remembered the name of it, I'm sorry, but I do remember its constituent patterns, which is if it breaks above, that's bullish, not extremely bullish, but it's still bullish. Like I said, you could see a similar test of at least the previous high it had, which could be upwards of 20%, which is not bad, but also at the same point, a measured move downwards is an equal 20% down to the 314 4-hour moving average. Again, to fill that gap around the 838 Satoshi mark. So if you're interested, and none of this is financial advice, ladies and gentlemen, but if I were wanting to watch this token and trade this one specifically, I would be very, very careful, and I would have basically alerts set like this, bang, on Engine, just like this. So if it broke above or below that triangle on approximately those dates, I would get warnings, and I would put them quite a bit higher. I mean, a higher confirmation. If it's a 20% move here to here, still gives you an extra 10%. If you're trading with 10 grand, that's an extra $1,000 in what might be only a 24-hour period or something like this. So it's basically how I would trade that, but I don't know advice on how you should trade it or if you should at all in any way, shape, or form. Long term, Engine could have some serious legs, especially with the scaling capabilities that Matic brings to the table. I really like Matic. We had a great interview with their founders the other day. I was really happy to have them on. I'm actually a big fan of Ethereum to some degree because of this. I think they're doing great work in the social impact space as well, which is like the main driver for pretty much everything I do on this planet right now. So keep an eye on that. I'll leave it short there. I know that the video stream is probably giving me crap because of the resolution, so I apologize. Hey Tio, I always appreciate your content. Any ideas on how the TA currently looks for Link? Okay, and you ever doing another video with Alpha Veda? Are you looking at ETHBC or better off with Matic and Raven? Okay, yeah, Dreamer, you're welcome. Happy to look at Engine. I'm going to try to do more of these things where we just do stuff for you guys. It's always been my goal. When I started the Arcane Bear, our only headline was just communicate value to other people. So thank you. I appreciate being able to do this. I will take a look at Link, Daryl, and then your question about Alpha Veda. We haven't had them on the show in a while. We could maybe do another one. Again, it's been hard to keep the channel alive. YouTube's been, well, I don't think it's YouTube's fault. It's YouTube's algorithm, and because I don't produce content consistently, essentially, that we've lost a lot of the viewership. But I'll take a quick look at Link, and then mainly I've only been trading Matic and Raven. Again, for those in the private newsletter, you'll know why. But again, if you guys want to sign up for the private newsletter. It'll be at a discounted rate here for the next little bit, which is always helpful. I guess if you want to get the long-term benefits of a discounted price for something that's worth a hell of a lot more than what we're charging. But that's another sentiment. If you don't want to sign up, I don't really care. I don't want you there if you don't want to sign up. So please, it's only if you're interested in learning and educating. It's like a community investment. We've got a lot of people that are learning together and helping one another. In fact, there's a lot of people that help me do a lot of the work through their own education and helping others. It's a really great platform for that. So again, it's just to make sure that we keep it really tight knit and that we can grow it as well. We're always producing new articles on different cups and handles, inverse, or head and shoulders. So we're always making more content in written format for the Arcane Bear family to use as well. So there's a lot of great features there. But Again, it's only for those of you that are like seriously interested in learning how to trade, because it's not an easy game. It takes a serious amount of investment and time to be able to play, and that's really who we want to aim at. That's why we've decided to raise the price. Anyways, we're going to take a look at Link now, because we had asked as well. So Chainlink is another one of these ones. Again, guys, I only chart in BTC format because I'm only interested in getting more Bitcoin. I don't trade my Bitcoin for US dollars, although I did do that to buy a ticket home. But that was a different story. We had like nice gains off Matic, so I was like, okay, well, let's pay for the ticket home with Matic. Seemed like a smart move. Anyways, let's take a look. We'll give ourselves some data here on Link. Is that it? Really? No, that's it. That's all the data. Okay. Wow. From September 2018 to now, it's done 600% versus Bitcoin. Great Matic. Great Link. Great work, Link. That's a nice solid run right there. Even in the last, let's see, what is this? Even since September here, you've got a nice 65 at the current moment, and 100%, 120% run in friggin' 58 days. It's awesome. So I know, Yoni, you're trading this one. You're in the private bear family. So I hope you made some sweet gains off this one. In terms of technicals right now, see, I wouldn't feel too confident about it at this particular moment. You could come down very easily to test the 314 day moving average, which is around 19,787 satoshis, especially since you've seen such a big gain versus Bitcoin, and the fact that it tried multiple times, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3 times to get back to that, above that previous all-time high that it had set back here in June. So I would be a little hesitant here. If I hadn't exited a position, I probably would have done so around here. I know that's all hearsay because I wasn't in this trade, but if I had entered anywhere in this position, I would have exited probably here. I mean, again, you don't have to trade exact bottom to top, but even still, has a 50% gain from mid-range to mid-range, which is huge. I would keep a close eye on it, though. Again, on our Eagle's Nest, you've seen a big downturn here. It couldn't get above the Eagle's Nest here. Although it is turning up, I would likely suspect that you'll see a jump to the 29,000 range. Again, if it turns green here, and that's maybe a different story. So I wouldn't close my position if I was still in it had I not exited back here. I would probably try to wait to see if it closes out above 28,000, and if it doesn't, then I would close, because it's very down to around 19,000 if it doesn't go back above this 29,000 area here. So either way, you've got a measured move, 16% to the upside, 20% to the downside. I would keep my stop loss set at around 23,000 here if I had entered back here again too, just to make sure I secured any of the profits. I'm not sure where you entered, Yoni, but I'm assuming it was somewhere back here based off when I've seen you talk about it in the private group. Hopefully that was helpful for you guys. I'm going to leave it off with that for the night. I'm going to do more of these. Maybe I'll try to do it once a week or something at least, now that I know I can stream from my place. Even if I can't, maybe I'll just use the phone. I know I've said this in the past, but who knows? We'll figure it out. Anyways, I really appreciate all your guys' support. I know I'm super random, but I'm dearly grateful for having this outlet to be able to share with you guys, to communicate value, and to be able to grow and build a community. It means the world to me. So keep your questions ready. Leave all your thoughts, your comments below. Remember to like, share. YouTube's not giving me any love, but I will come back in a few days. For the rest of you that are asking to take a look at Neo and Adam, I will do that. So we'll do that on the next live stream once I fix the resolution rate here, so that there's a bit of an easier time keeping the latency down for you guys. I hope you had fun tonight. I know I always do. Tio of the Arcane Bear family, remember to be grateful for all your problems, because one day you will no longer have them. And these problems that we often so dearly have troubles with are generally the opportunities that if we overcome them, there's something beautiful waiting at the other side of the tunnel. So we'll see you guys on the other side.